Okay. Welcome back to Super Sentai Review, episode number 210. This will be viewing just the sole movie that Gekiranger had during, well, technically they had two when the show came out, but the other one was a crossover with Gekiranger. I'm not going to be discussing that one until I finish with Gekiranger, because basically doing that would spoil the end of Gekiranger, which I don't want to do that. Not at all. This one is basically set, this is technically set between episodes 9 and 10, but I watch after basically 12, because I just want to keep going. Me. This movie is called Nei-Nei, Hou-Hou, Hong Kong Decisive Battle. And you might be curious though, was this movie adapted for Jungle Fury? Not really per se. All they did was adapt some footage of a fight sequence later on in the movie. That's it. Out of this 33-minute movie, it was hardly ever adapted. Basically, we start off with this mysterious guy watching a fight between the Gekirangers, Kale, and Ryu basically meditating in his temple. And then they get transported away to this mysterious location. What location is it? Just outside Hong Kong, near this giant statue. Which, that dub's going to play later on in the movie. But the movie is only 33 minutes. No, seriously, it's a 33-minute movie. It is a little bit longer than an average episode, which I do appreciate that, because generally a lot of the time these movies, these original movies that come out during the course of a series, since I've watched, tend to be slightly or just about the same length as an episode. This one is only just 10 minutes longer than an average episode, which, gotta praise it for that. And also, it's shot beautifully. Yes, for a movie that came out roughly, here's a shocker for you, 16 years ago, the movie still looks really good. Yeah, visually the movie looks stunning. None of the special effects look that bad. The CGI doesn't look that bad either. No, not really. It's like a transport meet Lao Fan. Basically a movie exclusive character, because this character never appears again ever after this. Because she's stationed in Hong Kong. And she comes to Japan because eventually in the movie after the battle is over, come to Japan. She never appears in the series. Nope, never does. Do not know why they're going to bring this character back, but I'll talk more about it later. So, we have Ryu and Jan about to start fighting. Of course, she just shows up complete out of nowhere. She stops both of them. Sweet. Yeah. Yeah, stops both of them. And of course, they chat for a bit. Of course, Jan likes the fact that she's got nunchucks. Which that's going to play later on in the movie with these two basically similarity with liking of nunchucks. Who Jan Lao Fan really is somebody who, well, it's standard for these type of movies, so I'll get to it. Then we have more martial artists show up. Looks like a luchador, a boxer. It seems like basically, with the exception of like Lao Fan, it seems like everybody else would just pick completely at random just to lose. And you're probably thinking, we have this tournament. See who would be the strongest. And we have this mysterious guy who sucks people's stuff out. You're probably thinking, is this movie a Mortal Kombat ripoff? It kind of is. But you don't have a character saying, I'll swallow your soul. No, I'll take your key instead. So, then of course, basically, they have the first round of this tournament, which, by the way, they only have one round. Yeah, one round, and then they reveal the true intention. So, and this is a great scene. After they have everybody show off their moves, Lao Fan just barely scraping by because her purse gets caught on a pole. Which I'm thinking, if this is supposed to be a martial artist, why is she slipping for? Maybe she's not good at it, I'm not really sure. So, then of course we have the dinner scene where you have, and by the way they have it set up is that we have, on one side we have the Gekirangers, all three of them lined up. We have basically blue and yellow next to each other. We have Jan with Lao Fan, which this makes sense. And basically, like, almost like the center of attention. I'm sure probably that the main villain Yang did this on purpose. We have Ryu just sitting in a chair, like, sitting like in this horseshoe formation, and Kale was right next to him. Of course. And of course, he wore these nice, really good coat. And of course, they eat, and of course, Yellow and Blue just don't, Ran and Risu don't want to eat because they think it might be poison. Jan doesn't give a damn. Him and Lao Fan eat like crazy. Yep. So, and of course, then their sponsors show up. Now, Yang himself is played by a Sentai veteran. I should point out, though, this actually is his last official appearance ever in Super Sentai. Why, you might ask? Because 11 years later, the man passed away. Now, the actor himself, let me get to the page here for this guy. It will take me a bit to get back there. Here we go. Okay. The actor who plays Yang is Makoshi Ishibashi. This guy is a legendary Sentai actor. And by the way, not the first time he's played a villain in this franchise. Oh no. Because the very first villain he ever played in Super Sentai history was Boss Ironclaw from Jack. Yep. He also played Commander Henner from Battle J, General Carr from Dynaman. And this, now, next one he did play after this one. Let's see. What's one I missed here? Oh, yeah, he did play a character called Bronze Tiger from, it was Bengal Tiger. I think it was from Battle Fever. It was from Battle Fever J. So, yeah, you have the guy playing double duty for one episode. So, in this movie, I have covered every single appearance this guy has made in Super Sentai history, with the exception of one. The only one I have not covered yet is Turbo Ranger, which I will cover in the future. I'm not going to tell you when per se, but I'll tell you when. All right. Oh, by the way, when he played this villain, this was the first villain he had played in Super Sentai history since his character of Turbo Ranger back in, by the way, this came out in 2007. And his last appearance on Super Sentai was back in 1989. Yes, 1989. So that is roughly almost 20 years later this guy was come back. And by the way, his secretary Melinda reveals what his dastardly plan is. Apparently he wants to take over the world with Mecha-Fu. Yes, Mecha-Fu. So he unleashes his robots on the people there. And of course, Kale is the first one to fall to the secretary. By the way, there's this one weird mode where basically Melinda is on top of Kale. And I'm like, wow, that kind of looks like a sexual position, basically, the way she's on top of her. Yeah, where she's basically almost got Kale's face near her groin, but she's a robot. Yep. Yeah, so take over the world with robots. Of course, this is a plot for this thing. So eventually, Kale's power gets taken away, and then, of course, the Gekiranger get defeated, but easily with this thing, and of course, Ryu just takes his coat off, gives his coat to Kale, probably keep him warm, and then he transforms into his lion armor mode, puts up a pretty good battle, actually destroys the robot, but she takes his key anyways. And meanwhile, though, while he's making his speech, Lao Fan leaves the party before she's seen by him, probably because she has probably seen him before, and probably Yang has probably seen him before too. So Jen follows her, and of course she's very clumsy, and knocks over something out of her pocket. A badge. She is a police officer who's tasked to take down basically Yang. And of course, well, they find his core, which, by the way, this room will only appear twice the whole movie. Yeah, and by the way, this room, I think, has been reused a few times in history with this computer set up. Like, it feels like this is basically borrowed from a factory. Yep, that's what it seems like anyways. And apparently, the guy who directed this movie, he actually, get this, would direct the movie that came out next, which was The People War. Yeah, he directed 2 movies after this one. You have to do first three. Let's see. This was like probably the first. Let's see. It was his. Let's see. For directing movies, he would direct Faithful War, the crossover Shurikanger versus Goanger, 2 Gokaiger movies, one with the take on Spaceship Gap. It's not his first one he did. This is only like his 1, 2, 3, 4. This is only his 5th movie he's ever directed. He would direct this one 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, roughly about 7 more movies. Last one he did was Ninja Onger versus Tokuger. That was the last one he did. That was back in 2016. Yep. Yep, so they play in his room, and of course, yeah, he admits everything. And of course, they basically just do a comedy thing where they arrest him. It's like, ha ha, that doesn't affect me. And then the key that the robot took gets transferred to him, which makes him into a freaking robot. And it absorbs everybody's chi. Well, basically, everybody who's in the island got restored. No problem. And of course, people Hong Kong's chi. And then, of course, the Gekarangers basically get their, they morph, this way back their chi was like, well, yeah, this was never really explained. Maybe when the thing exploded, maybe they got the chi, maybe they're just depowered. So they morph back up and basically use their combined powers to basically destroy the robot. Not really. It's like, I can't be in here. And then he goes to the statue. And it turns out that's giant robot too. And he goes on a rampage, obviously. So the Gekiranger summon their Zord to battle this giant robot. And of course, Law Fan just begs Ryu, who at this point is the main villain, asking the villain and his henchwoman to basically team up with him because they're practicing the same style martial arts. So they team up with them, and heck, they go inside the Megazord. This is quite interesting, though. We have a main villain going to Megazord, and they're not using this time to attack, their enemies. Basically, their team just taking this guy who dated to mock their style of basically martial arts. And of course, and we see the debut of the Lion Zord and the Camille Zord. Will we see anything pop again? Who knows? So, basically, they use this time to destroy this. They battle after a pretty lengthy battle. They destroy the robots, and then, of course, looks like they're about to go home, and then Miki shows up with the cat and her daughter, where they're on vacation. Like, but say goodbye, and of course, Fan just voluntarily just shows them around. The subject they were saying goodbye, and of course, they go on an eating tour. And of course, like, how can these women eat? And here's my thing: how can they eat all that much and still remain that thin? Maybe because they do a lot of walking. Who knows? And of course, the cat's like, whatever. Let's just go along with this. It's a good sequence. And, that's the movie in a nutshell. It's a damn good movie. I thoroughly enjoyed it, despite the fact that the movie is a partial ripoff of Mortal Kombat. Not the video game, the film version. Yes, they ripped off an American movie for this one. Well, part of it anyways. Yep, but yeah, damn good movie. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Next time for this one, we'll be discussing more of Gekiranger. But next time, it's going to be 2 straight comic corners, okay? Next video. Bye.